Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another Destiny video and another exotic review. And in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the new House of Wolves exotic Titan Gauntlets, the ACD 0 feedback fence. Now just before I get started, I want to give a shout out to OneSicBunny, as this is actually his Titan and his exotic, and he very kindly recorded some footage of the item in action so that I could show you guys. So thank you very much for that. He doesn't actually have a YouTube channel, but I will link to his Xbox Live profile in the description box down below. So thanks again for that one, but now onto the item itself. First up, just look at it. These are by far the coolest looking exotic gauntlets I have ever seen. I'm a hunter, and these alone make me want to make a Titan. They look like something straight out of Deus Ex, and imagine combining these with the black and orange shader you get from Arekkz. You're in for a winning combination. However, fashion aside, let's actually see what this thing can do. So first up, the perks. You have Rain Blows, which increases your melee attack speed, Brawler's Charge, which will replenish your super energy when you kill an enemy with a melee attack, and the defining perk, Wrath Conductors, where taking damage from a melee attack deals damage in the area around you. So, that third perk, let's talk a little bit more about that. Effectively, this exotic relies on you being hit to trigger its effect, and in turn dish out some AoE damage, which therefore means it's designed for close quarters builds. If you have no intention of getting up close and personal as a Titan, then there's no point using this item. The perk itself triggers rather frequently, as you can see here, where OneSicBunny is working his way through the abyss in Crota's raid. It is worth noting, however, that if you are being swarmed by lots of melee enemies like Thrall, then there is a very brief cooldown period between each activation, which effectively equates to every other hit. Obviously, if the space between the hits is longer, then the effect will trigger every time. But what about damage? Well, as you can clearly see, the shockwave that appears around the Titan upon activation does not kill the enemies. It does, however, knock them back, briefly stunning them, and in the case of these Thrall, or the typically weaker enemies known for running up and meleeing you, it'll also deplete half their health. And this is where the Rain Blows perk comes in. Faster melee attack speed. See, the idea is that once the shockwave is out, and the enemies are briefly stunned and damaged, you then follow up with a speedy melee attack to finish the job. Obviously, on stronger enemies, for example Fallen Captains or Minotaurs, you could expect this to remove their shield, perhaps do a little bit of damage, but it obviously won't do quite so much. But then what about PvP? Well, if I'm honest, I really don't think this item is designed for PvP. Sure, it might be useful in an extremely close quarters Crucible match, perhaps Rumble, maybe on that super close new House of Wolves map, Timekeeper, but then if you've spent any time in Crucible at all, then you are no doubt painfully aware that if someone is about to close the gap on you, chances are they have a shotgun in hand. I very rarely get killed by melee attacks these days, and if I do, it's usually one of those one-shot ones that would have killed me anyway. So the chances of you ever actually being able to trigger the effect on these gauntlets and then follow up in full effect are so slim, it's really not worth it. The same can be said for one of my favourite hunter exotics, Don't Touch Me gauntlets, the ones that make you go invisible when you receive melee damage. I personally dropped them in the Crucible simply because I very rarely benefited from the perk, and as such chose to pick something that would benefit the wider game. And I personally think the exact same applies to the ACD 0 feedback fence. So the question still remains, with everything I've just said, are these any good? And if so, where should you use them? And the answer is yes, at times, and most notably in the Prison of Elders. It seems like a lot of the new exotics have pretty much been designed with the Prison of Elders in mind, more so than anything else, and the ACD 0 feedback fence is definitely one of those. If you've played the Prison of Elders, you will know that you have a wide range of enemies, many of which will close the gap on you and deal some nasty melee damage given the chance. Fallen Dregs, Hive Thrall, Cabal Phalanxes, and even Vex Minotaurs. So, in situations where you're pinned in the corner with a melee barrage incoming, this could be the difference between life and death. You might not choose to follow up the AoE shock with an attack, but instead may use the momentary stun as an opportunity to get out. And, despite what you may think, I would personally lean more towards using these as a defender Titan than a striker, simply because if you pair these with some sort of defensive barrier, it could actually be quite effective without having to put you at too much risk with regards to taking melee damage. And that, my friends, is it. I know I usually end these reviews with some sort of star rating, but if I'm completely honest, having not had a chance to actually test these myself, I can't really vouch for their effectiveness in both PvE or PvP beyond what you've seen in this video. So instead, I'll simply say that I think this is definitely an exotic worth having and bringing with you, but perhaps not one you'd have equipped at all times. Either way, let me know in the comments down below if you guys have got these, if you've used them, and if so, what are your personal thoughts? But aside from that, thank you very much for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.